Thank you for tuning in to WDRB Media, the voice of the community. You are listening to Beyond the Barriers with Coach Cindy
and Mayor Sherri. On the Beyond the Barriers radio show, we believe we have the power to change the trajectory of our economic, social, health, and education outcomes by removing barriers that lie within historically excluded communities through cooperative models. Today, we are discussing Barrier Busters Unleashed. In this illuminating episode, we will uncover the innovative approaches and inspiring tales of those who are actively dismantling obstacles and fostering positive change. Join us as we engage in insightful interviews with community leaders who have become true barrier busters, paving the way for inclusivity, empowerment, and resilience. From grassroots initiatives to impactful policy changes, discover the tools and stories that can ignite transformation in your own community.
And our show sponsors is Sandhills Cooperation Association, located at 348 North Main Street, Troy, North Carolina, serving 5 counties: Montgomery, Randolph, Moore, Richmond, and Stanley County.
Beyond the Barriers radio show.
Ready to ignite change? Sandhills Cooperation Association empowers historically excluded communities, helping them become self-sufficient. Join us every Sunday at 5 o'clock p.m. for our Beyond the Barriers radio show on WDRB Media with Mayor Sherri
and Coach Cindy, addressing community challenges. Visit us at sandhillscooperation.org or visit us on Facebook, Sandhills Cooperation Association, building brighter futures one community at a time.
Joining us in the studio today from Ellerbe, North Carolina is City Councilman Jeremy McKenzie, as well as former Richmond County Commissioner Tavares Bostic. Hi, this is Mayor Sherri
and Coach Cindy, host of Beyond the Barriers, telling you to stay tuned in to the only station giving you double the information and inspiration.
WDRB Media, the voice of the community. Welcome back to WDRB Media, the voice of the community, and those streaming live through free TuneIn radio app, Streama, Apple Music, Radio Seed, and more. You're listening to Beyond the Barriers, and I'm your host, Mayor Sherri.
And I'm Coach Cindy. If you're just tuning in, we are discussing Barrier Busters Unleashed. Let's welcome to our show our first guest, City Councilman Jeremy McKenzie.
First and foremost, I just want to wish everyone a Happy New Year and blessings to each and every one of you, and thank you for allowing me the time to speak to y'all on Beyond the Barriers. It's indeed an honor and a privilege to speak on the issues and the concerns about what's going on in Ellerbe, North Carolina.
Well, we do appreciate you being with us, Councilman, and all of the dedication and the hard work you're doing over there in Ellerbe. Now, as we start out, Councilman, can you share with us your perspective on the key barriers that historically excluded communities face within your city there in Ellerbe, North Carolina?
One of the things that we have to realize, Ellerbe, which is the third largest municipality within Richmond County, North Carolina, which we known to be a town of, I say, with a big heart. With good people. Over the course of time since I was born and raised in this area and currently reside here, Ellerbe has went through a lot of changes within the years. Years ago, the bypass was built, which that kind of hurted a lot of the revenue and the other town. But we was also to incorporate some things where Ellerbe's still here and still running. From restaurants to a historical hotel to pretty much barbershops to gas stations. One of the things that we are continuing to do is promote the growth of Ellerbe, North Carolina, to let the people know we still here.
Do you know how many African Americans preside and what is the percentage of African Americans in your community?
Currently, in the last census in 2020, we was at 809. Those numbers pretty much is more, if I had to put a percentage of African Americans, you're probably looking at almost 75 to 80%. We have a pretty high number of African Americans in this community.
Now tell me this, and I hate to interrupt you, but you all just had your very first African American mayor, correct? Or was she the first?
Yeah, she's the first African-American mayor, was elected in 2021, which is my next door neighbor in Brenda Cape.
All right, Mayor Brenda Capel, shout out to her and the great accomplishment that she has taken on.
As a city council, how are you guys actively engaged with the community to identify and address the barriers that you spoke about?
I could truly say since Mayor Capel has took office in 2021, I could truly say in my ninth year being on the council, she's been the most active and hardworking mayor I have seen in the previous two I have worked with since 2015. She brought a special gift and talent where for accountability and make sure from staff members to council members are working. And during that time, we had implemented a lot of programs within our community. As far as we have a lot of small businesses are opening now, and they are up and running, because currently right now I'm having lunch at one of our Mama Noah's places that has been renovated and restored and looks good with a great facelift, and they doing pretty well. We had our first inaugural Elevate Fun Day a few months ago, and let me tell you something. That fun day, we didn't think how many people were going to show up for that, but it was tremendously well attended with a lot of promoting and a lot of advertising.
Good.
Well, it's good to hear the engagement that you guys are having in the community. The fact that you have a hardworking mayor definitely adds to what the accomplishments can happen in your town. With 800 people to be impactful in the county, that's pretty good.
It is.
That's pretty good, and I'm glad to hear that LB is holding her own.
Yes, ma'am. And also another thing, that a lot of things we have done, we have a lot of water and sewage lines that's being replaced with collaboration with LKC engineering with Logan Parson, and also we just paid off a year ago a USDA loan was estimated $1.2 million that was taken out in 2011 with the help of Senator Tom McKenzie, Dave Craven, and the governor of North Carolina.
All right.
So that wiped the debt off clean. And which, when we go through our audit and our budget last year, that we had a successful budget audit in years.
Wow.
That's so good.
I'm going to tell you, Councilman, it is so good to hear. Just from you speaking, I am so elated to hear that you are very engaged within the decision making within your town. And I do commend you on that. As a part of being a city councilman, you all have to pass policies, voting on things from time to time. Can you tell me, in your own experience, how does those policies contribute to breaking down barriers within the historically excluded communities in Ellerbe, North Carolina?
Well, one of the things that we have to look into is we have a very effective and a good council, and my colleagues will tell you firsthand, we work together because we're team players. Ain't no IOU in team. We work together, pass these policies to help benefit the town. But one of the things that we have to realize that we're not going to be able to please everybody. We're not going to be able to make everybody happy. But when you're looking at from policies from Parks and Rec, water and sewage, fire department, police, I know many of y'all heard about the sheriff contract that was I call it an eyesore. For the past several years, because kind of did some things to hurt us without any collaboration or let anybody know ahead of time. So, and most of us had already done our budgets, but when they changed the went from Earl Capital tax to Avalon tax, which that kind of hurt us with the police department, which we had a 24-hour deputy who'd been up here to patrol the area to make sure to keep Ellerbe safe. And in the result of that, we had to cut the fat in half because what the county commissioners did. But the late Sheriff James Clemens and our current Sheriff Mark Gullis was so helpful to get us through what we needed to do, and we continue to have that 24-hour protection regardless of the fact what our budget looked like. Because at the end of the day, we as citizens of Richmond County, we're paying taxes to the sheriff department, so we are entitled for that service.
Right. That's good. And that was a barrier. I see that as a barrier that was been placed, and you all were able to navigate around that, which is commendable.
That's teamwork. Can you tell me how you have collaborated as a city councilman with community organizations or businesses to effectively tackle the barriers that they face?
Only thing I can say for that, I have visited a lot of these small businesses, whether I have the grand opening or just stopping by just to check on the well-being of our owners. And a couple of things that they always enlighten me is, number one is they still dealing with water. You know, the water and the sewage is kind of a little high a little bit. But then number two is all about promoting growth and advertising, which I do preach that to the choir, to them all the time, because you got to let the people know LB's still here. We're still going strong, and let people know, hey, this what you're selling, this what you're doing, and just getting the people to come up here.
Right.
Yeah, I've seen you. I was at the May Day in Ellerby. Well, I've been going every year for the last 3 years, and I see you make an appearance. And it is good that the community know who you are. Seeing you and other officials was there as well. And I do appreciate that when you're attending these marginalized communities or these excluded communities, when you are including yourself in them. That is very good. Very appreciative.
It is.
And at the same time, one of the things I did say when I was elected in 2015 was I made a vow to my community and the Richmond County area that you will find that elected officials going to be visible and available to you. So anybody who could say that from Richmond County and surrounding counties through out the Sand Hills region, one thing they can say about Councilman McKenzie, Jeremy will show up.
Yeah, Jeremy will show up. We say that about you because Jeremy, to our listeners, is also on the board of our sponsors, Sand Hills Corporation Association, and he definitely show up for us
all the time. Yes. And we do appreciate that too, Councilman. And knowing that Sand Hills Cooperation Association is all about impacting our communities, pushing them towards self-sustainability through economics, through social, educationally, and health. Now, Councilman, can you please tell me if there has been any measures that you all as a city council have implemented in order to assist your communities in those areas, economic, social, and educationally?
I could say for economically, as far as with the town being a small area, we're trying to at least collaborate with the small businesses if they can employ at least 2 or 3 people, at least get our numbers up. Even we on Tuesday afternoons from 12 to 3 o'clock, we do have a food bank in the town of Ellerby that would with the Mill Springs Improvement Council, spearheaded by Ms. Barbara Moak, that gives away free food and water will not have you. Because from the community center to my house, I can see, and it's lines stretched out like a multitude, like Jesus getting ready to split the Red Sea.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And that's been an impactful thing that's been going on almost for 5 or 6 years now.
That is amazing.
Economically, we're trying to help the people. We try to help the less fortunate. Even to we have a church that continues, LB United Methodist Church, across from the library. Every Wednesday, they have at 6 o'clock, they have a little Bible study and they feed the community free of charge.
Awesome. Can you tell me what are the challenges that the city council members typically encounter when they're advocating for the policies that will address the barriers? And how do you guys handle that?
Okay, all right. One of the things I always say is there's always room for improvement and growth as well. One of the things that I try to preach to the choir every month, every first Monday at 7 o'clock, and I tell my citizens, come to the meetings, learn what's going on in your community, and then we do have a citizens time before we adjourn the meeting, so this way you can answer your questions, and then the mayor, myself, or four of my colleagues can help you any way. That way we can address these issues and concerns, and hopefully we can get a good solution out of the problem.
It does.
Sounds like you guys are really working together. I'm looking forward to spending more time in Ellerby as a community project manager. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, and we will definitely have you back at another time to continue the conversation about the work you do in Richmond County.
Councilman, before we close out, can you share any upcoming plans or projects from the City Council that you all are working on? And if somebody wants to contact you, how can they get in contact with you?
Well, one of the things, I'm going to put this in a 2-part thing. Number one, we do have coming up in May, we will have our Mayfest in 2024. We'll be held at the same location that we had in previous years. We will have our Fun Day coming up probably in September and October. Then our Farmers Day Parade in November, and our Hometown Christmas in December. If anybody wants to get in contact with me, you can contact me at 605-9385, or you can contact the Ellerby Town office at 910-652-6251. And we will be glad to
Awesome.
help you any way we can.
All right, all right. Thank you, Councilman McKenzie. Once again, we thank you for your time. We thank you for your dedication to being a barrier buster.
All right, barrier
Unleash.
busting.
Yes,
Amen.
barrier busting, unleash. And so anytime that you need us at Sand Hills Cooperation Association, our doors are open and we will have you back again, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Appreciate the time, and God bless you. Enjoy the rest of you, and Happy New Year to y'all.
All right.
God
thank
bless you.
too.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
You're tuned in to WDRB Media, the voice of the community. We'll be right back after the break.
Attention community leaders and change makers. The Black Journey Continues Conference is back on February 24, 2024 at Montgomery Community College, 1011 Page Street, Troy, North Carolina. Join us for a day of empowerment and inspiration. Engage in thought-provoking sessions and panels on the power of community. Celebrate our community leaders at the awards luncheon. Doors open at 9 o'clock a.m. with breakfast and lunch included. Vendor spaces are available and tickets can be purchased on Eventbrite. Contact 910-573-3070 or visit sandhillscooperation.org for details. This is your chance to be a part of something bigger. Sponsorship opportunities and ad purchases are available. Visit sandhillscooperation.org. Don't miss the Black Journey Continues Conference, where community strength takes center stage. See you there.
Looking for a dynamic workspace to fuel your creativity and boost productivity? Welcome to the Innovative Action Center, your hub for co-working and meeting space at 346 North Main Street, Troy, North Carolina. Become a member and enjoy 24/7 access, high-speed Wi-Fi, cozy coffee bar, and snacks to keep you energized. Elevate your business game with our membership packages. For more information, contact us at 910-573-3070 or visit sandhillscooperation.org. The Innovative Action Center is more than a workspace. It's a community dedicated to business development and job creation. Join us for monthly workshops, seminars, and entrepreneurial services. Take your business to new heights at the Innovative Action Center. Visit us today.
Beyond the Barriers Radio Show.
Welcome back to WDRB Media, the voice of the community. And those streaming live through free TuneIn radio app, Streama, Apple Music, Radio Seed, and more. You're listening to Beyond the Barriers radio show, and I'm your host, Mayor Sherri.
And I'm Coach Cindy. On today with Tavares Bostic, who has served as County Commissioner in Richmond County, North Carolina. Tavares, it is good to have you on today. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the role you served?
Yeah, absolutely. I served as County Commissioner from 2018 to 2021. Amazing experience. I was born and raised right here in Richmond County. It has always been the idea to go off, get the education and the experience as some of the older generation told us to do, and come back and continue to help build through education at what I consider to be the greatest HBCU ever created, North Carolina A&T, as well as the University of Pittsburgh, as well as a host of other experience. I felt like coming back home and being able to serve in the capacity of County Commissioner would be my small part of the charge of helping to further the cause in Richmond County.
And I'm so glad you did. The first thing we want you to do is kind of share with us some coming back. So you've had a lot of experience outside of Richmond County. So I know coming back home, you saw things through a very different lens, right?
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
Can you share with us your perspective on the key barriers that are played out in historically excluded communities?
Coming back, it was interesting. And so I'll go back really quick. North Carolina A&T is maybe one of the blackest schools that you can go to. University of Pittsburgh is one of the whitest schools that you can go to. And so being able to have that relationship with both sides. And at Pitt, I was the only black male in my entire program. Oh. And so having to navigate that particular path, but also having that firmness in my blackness that I feel like A&T was able to to, kind of inject in me in that way. Coming back to Richmond County, I was able to see things through a very wide lens.
Right.
And so the one thing that I was looking at and some of the questions that I had was, who is the person? And a lot of times in the historically Black communities, there's always like a person where everyone is kind of looking to, here's our person that has led the charge. So coming back, I wanted to know who that person was, or at the very least, who that person had passed the torch to.
Right.
The other thing that I was looking at was who were the county commissioners, who are our town council people, and so on and so forth for governmental entities. And what I realized is that there really weren't a lot of people that look like me in those positions. It's not to say that just because those positions weren't filled with people that look like me couldn't necessarily fulfill some of the needs of my Black communities, Black and brown communities. But it is to say, do you really have the true relationship with those communities?
Right.
And I didn't know if that was happening or not. And so for me, it was some of the barrier was the agenda of what are we doing and where are we going? And if that was clear to everyone in the communities that we're talking to. And so being able to, start a nonprofit, which was Black Brothers Leaning on Another, Creating Kings, and being able to really get into some of these communities, I'm like, okay, well, what's the agenda for what are we doing and where are we going? And it can't just be general, like, oh, Black people need more stuff, or Black people need this, and this. It's like, well, how do we get there? And how do we assess strengths and limitations for the people that's in these communities so that we can properly position them for the agenda that we're trying to set? And so that ended up being one of the largest barriers. And sure, there are some other things that I think probably plague every community. But trying to figure out who is the person or who are the people, and then trying to figure out how do I come back home and try to create a relationship with these communities, and not to be a voice, but to join the voices of other people who are maybe already doing frontline work. That ended up being a bit more difficult than I originally thought it would be.
And you were born and raised there, right?
But it's different when you leave and you come back.
It is.
If I can be transparent, there were a lot of questions about me. Right? Just kind of, who is this kid now coming back, and for some people talking like this and behaving like this, and that whole deal. And so I think people struggled with that in kind of looking at who the messenger was, opposed to whether or not the messenger can help us identify a realistic agenda for what are we doing and where are we going.
This is so awesome. It is awesome because you're right, and it's not unique to Richmond County. This is what we experience in all of our Black communities. To have the broad lens that you had, like you could see from two perspectives what was happening in your county. Did you also understand you could see it from two perspectives? You were also dealing with people who may not see it from any perspective other than their own, where they were sitting. So navigating that. So how as a county commissioner were you able to engage your community and to identify the barriers? Because we have to start at home, right?
Right.
And I heard you say earlier that you were, engaging with those communities. So tell me what those engagements look like.
So when it comes to, I'll say this about county commissioner because I'm sure we'll have several questions about that. County commissioner is a very specific job. They have very specific things that they have to do for the county and for the state. There are things that I think spaces that people would love to see county commissioners in that they may just not be in. It's not a part of their maybe description, if you want to, I guess, for the sake of conversation. And then there are absolutely places where as a county commissioner or as just a person, you find yourself in these communities that you want to help. And so what I realized is that my statement from before about people maybe struggling with me is not an indictment of them. I recognize that everyone operates from the perspective of their particular world. For me, it's about how can I try to blend my world with yours and not question all of the things that you're doing, but just be curious.
Right.
How did you get here? Do you want help? And the one question that I've been asking since I'm no longer commissioner, but the question that I have been asking is, in trying to help people, am I elevating people or am I just like giving stuff away? And that's been a question that has burned me deep, because it's always been my intent to try to get into communities, assess needs, assess the people who can actually be leaders in those communities, and then trying to hopefully help them position themselves in a way that's going to help the greater good and the bigger call. In that, I think at times it became a thing of, well, I'm doing a turkey thing, I'm doing a Christmas thing, I'm doing a scholarship, here's all the information. And it's just like, I was talking to one of my mentors and I said, I don't know if I'm elevating in the way that maybe I thought I was.
Well, and this work can definitely cause you to think that. Like, Sand Hills Corporation Association, we are engaging in communities all the time. And I definitely understand where you're coming from, because giving is a very, very deep word. So, you have to know what that really does look like if you're giving what is needed.
Yeah.
I can understand that, but we can talk all day about it. We can talk all day. And definitely we will have you back on the show to address those community issues and how we can collaborate, how our sponsors can collaborate with you to make sure that that work is strengthened and the people are elevated. But as a commissioner, I know you experienced, even at the onslaught, you were, even at the polls, were challenged even getting elected.
Oh man. It was.
So you came in as facing barriers, right?
Man, barrier is a good word here then. But I came into it recognizing that people had to try to create a relationship with a person where I always felt like I did the thing that you all told me to do. The older generation said, after graduation, leave, go get your education, worldly experience, come back and help us continue to build. I'm like, here I am trying to do that. But I'm like, what I realized is that, was this really what you wanted? Or does the idea of it just sound good?
Well, I think a lot of that. You're definitely younger than me, but I know that narrative was also in my community when I was graduating from high school, and I think that a lot of reason that it was said, it was because they didn't feel like we could elevate or be elevated in our communities. But don't forget about us. Right. Don't forget. But what they may not have understood is coming back. We're coming back with more than what you gave us.
Exactly. And so in the first run, I felt like that was maybe the most fun that I had as far as county commission, because you really just don't know anything.
Right.
I knew what I knew of the job. I knew that I loved policy. I knew that I had spent a good amount of time looking at budgets over the years, past county commissioners, current. Like, when I tell you, Ms. Hiller, that I did my homework on this thing, it wasn't like, I came in and said, oh, county commissioner looks good. It looks something to do.
I know. No, that's not a good way to get in.
Right. I came in ready for action.
Right.
And I think the way that I ran this thing, and because I am so firm in who I am and the people that I really wanted to serve, I'm like, it was going to be hard to get me out. I realized that in politics, people are going to say anything.
So in your experience, did the county really have policies that would help break down the barriers of our communities, of our historically excluded communities?
Did they have policies that did that specifically?
Right.
I think the realistic answer to it is yes and no. I think that if you look at it from the lens of county commissioner, then you look at how can the county commission do that for, if we're talking about an excluded community, that's all of Richmond County. Richmond County is excluded.
Yeah.
It's Tier 1, it's not a ton of money here. You have to kind of scratch and claw for a lot of resources and all of that. So when I think about Richmond County, it's the whole thing. And so what I look at is, what policies or what are we doing? Educationally, it's things like partnering with the community college. It's trying to figure out how to make, places like the Northern End not be a broadband desert, and hopefully try to partner with folks that can get some internet there, because the internet is jobs. It is making sure that the infrastructure infrastructure here is good enough to be able to entice jobs to come in. The other part about it, though, is that the people that want all of those things have to show up to those spaces when folks like me, for example, are saying, hey, everyone, because I'm the person that I will literally drive off on the side of the road and say, guys, here's all the information right here. Go, and go now. And so in that, there are things that's done. Now, are there specific policies that say something like all of these type people get this thing based on these policies? I haven't seen that.
So, but what I'm hearing from you is that the job of the county commissioner, I think sometimes when we as a people are in positions, political positions, that our communities have an idea of us that we might not be in position to do. Right? And so they look at you and you're not getting what they think you ought to be getting for the community. And,
oh my goodness.
And you're saying, but where I'm sitting, can't really address it that way. But if you show up in the room and if you telling us as a whole what it looks like from where you're sitting, then we can talk. Then we can move the needle toward equity. I know personally that that's not an easy place to sit and then have your community thinking that you are not showing up in the way that they need you to show up.
But that's going to be on the folks that decide that they want to run for something like county commissioner. One of the things that I said is that I want the people that the county commissioner are serving to have a healthier and better relationship with the position of county commissioner.
Right.
Because there's a disconnect in what commissioners can do and not
do.
And at one point, you could probably walk 10 miles north, south, east, and west and say, hey, name me 3 of the 7 commissioners that you have. And there's probably going to be most of those people who can't name you 4 of the 7. So,
and the thing about that's unique about Richmond County commissioners is that you guys are all at large, right? Mm-hmm. But I did notice that about that position when you were running, and I'm like, because you don't have a district of people who know your work and appreciate your work and will support your work and vote you in to do what is the bidding for that community. Because you are a county commissioner at large, then you have to, and which I think is unique to you, because you did have that full lens. You have to look at the demographics of your county in a full lens, and then serve your community. So that is a feat within itself. Are you still advocating for your communities and those policies as a community member?
Absolutely.
Great. That is so great. That's going to be very important as you go into, hopefully, are you planning to run again or in another office?
Yeah, well, that's to be determined. I think for what I wanted to do as a commissioner, I was able to do a lot of it. After the election, I said I wanted to take a break. Mm-hmm. I've taken that break now. And so now I'm in the talks with some mentors, and everyone can be on the lookout for what's next.
Okay.
This is Mayor Sherri
and Coach Cindy, host of Beyond the Barriers, telling you to stay tuned in to the only station giving you double the information and inspiration.
WDRB Media, the voice of the community. Hello, listeners. Welcome to another empowering episode of Beyond the Barriers. I'm your host, Mayor Sherri. So come on, let's jump in. Today, we embark on a special journey, a journey of breaking down barriers, of becoming true barrier busters, and unleashing the potential for transformative change within historically excluded communities. From 2018 to 2020, I had the privilege of becoming the first Black mayor of the town of Troy, North Carolina, defeating an incumbent who had served for almost 4 decades. It was a historic moment, but more importantly, it was a testament to the power of breaking down barriers that had long held our community captive. Now, as the host of Beyond the Barriers, I've had the incredible opportunity to dive deep into the strategies and success stories of those who are actively collectively dismantling obstacles and fostering positive change. It's a mission close to my heart, one that recognizes the resilience within historically excluded communities, and it aims to amplify the voices of those who are paving the way for inclusivity, empowerment, and resilience. So why is it so important to be barrier busters unleashed in historically excluded communities? Well, the answer lies in the transformative potential that comes when we collectively decide to challenge the status quo. It's about rewriting this narrative. For far too long, historically excluded communities have been defined by the barriers imposed upon them. Breaking down these barriers is not just an act of defiance, it's a declaration that our stories, our successes, and our potential matters. Being barrier busters is an investment in the future. It's about creating an environment where the next generation doesn't see barriers as insurmountable obstacles, but as challenges that can be overcome through collective effort and determination. Do you know that one of the most powerful ways to break barriers is through community engagement? We're going to dive more into it on next week's show. But knowing and understanding that when we actively involve ourselves in the issues that matter, when we collaborate and work together, the impact is exponential. Grassroots initiatives such as community-led projects and mentorship programs have the potential to create lasting change in our communities. Let's not forget the role of policy changes as well. As barrier busters, we must advocate for policies that address systemic issues, that level the playing field, and ensure equity for all. The journey from community activism to impactful policy changes is a trajectory that truly unleashes the potential for transformation. It's about resilience and unity. Historically excluded communities have endured and thrived against incredible odds. By becoming barrier busters, we tap into that resilience, recognizing that our strength lies in our unity. This is a call to action for every member of the community to stand together, to support one another, and to collectively push against the barriers that seek to divide us. As we continue to explore these inspiring stories on Beyond the Barriers, please remember that being a barrier buster is not just a choice. This is a responsibility. It's a commitment to dismantling obstacles and creating a future where united communities are unstoppable forces of positive change. It's a commitment to dismantling obstacles and creating a future where united communities are unstoppable forces of positive change. Join us as we uncover the tools and stories that can ignite transformation in your own community. Don't miss the chance to be a part of a movement that envisions a future where barriers are no match for the strength of united communities. Thank you for joining me on this insightful discussion at Beyond the Barriers radio show. Until next time, stay empowered and keep breaking down those barriers. God bless you.
Beyond the Barriers radio show.
After the break, we will have none other than Coach Cindy with Community Coaching 101. You're tuned in to WDRB Media, the voice of the community. Don't go anywhere because we'll be right back. Get ready for inspiration and empowerment every Sunday at 5 p.m. on WDRBmedia.com with the Beyond the Barriers radio show. Join Mayor Sherri and Coach Cindy as they tackle the issues facing historically excluded communities. It's a powerful conversation on cooperative models, breaking barriers in economic, social justice, health, and education. Tune in, engage, and be part of the change. Visit us on Facebook at Beyond the Barriers Radio Show. Don't miss out Sundays at 5 p.m. on WDRBmedia.com.
Hi, this is Coach Cindy with week 2 of Community Coaching 101, and it is great to be here with you again this week. Last week, I shared with you my perspective on what a cohesive community looks like. It is a community that works together for the good of every member. A cohesive community has to be built on a foundation of fellowship. So let's expound a little bit about fellowship. What fellowship is not is just a group of people gathering around food and maybe an agenda and running through the agenda, having a few laughs in a game and saying good night. No, it's much deeper than that. By definition, fellowship is described as a body of companions or spirit of camaraderie. To be a part of a cohesive community, it has to be built on the foundation of authentic fellowship. We have got to learn how to stick together. How do we stick together? Well, we talked on last week about cohesive community having shared experiences, attitudes, interests, and goals. So we have to learn how to turn those shared experiences, attitudes, interests, and goals into a purpose, power, and productivity that will create cohesive community. How do you do that? Well, your purpose has to embody the social, economic, educational, spiritual, and physical health of every member. It has to possess the collective power for the good of all. In doing so, you will create a successful, cohesive production. Now that sounds like a mouthful, but it really isn't. And it isn't a new concept. In time past, our communities actually thrived off of these very principles. We did it then because, well, we didn't have a lot of choice. Let's do it now because we choose. We choose to love each other. If we would create a cohesive community, we will overcome our learned helplessness and be able to withstand systemic oppression. A cohesive community is a community of people who have decided that the power comes from within, not without. So my challenge or my assignment for you this week is to look inside of your community and see if you can identify a community organization that embodies the ideology of cohesive community. Remember, do they have a purpose for every aspect and every member? Do they possess a collective power for the good of all? And has it created a successful, cohesive production? If you find such community organization and you're not a member already, please join them to strengthen the cord. If you are a member or a founder of such organization, then I applaud you today and I encourage you to continue the work because you are much needed inside of your community. I would like for you to share your thoughts, your ideas, and your comments about cohesive community. You can reach out to me at sandhillscooperation.org. Hit the tab that says Coach Cindy and let's get cohesive. I am excited about being on this journey with you. Until next week, you be wise, be healthy, and be blessed.
This is Mayor Sherri
And Coach Cindy, host of Beyond the Barriers.
Welcome.
Yes,
You are
welcome, Mayor Sherri.
Yes, good to see you
Yes.
as well, Coach Cindy.
Oh yeah, you know we have so much that we have to talk about.
Beyond the Barriers radio show.
Don't miss out Sundays at 5 p.m. on WDRBmedia.com.
Beyond the Barriers Nugget of Wisdom from Coach Cindy.
Hello, this is Coach Cindy with the Nugget of Wisdom for the week. It's a brand new year, 2024, and we're all excited about doing better than we did last year. Let me help you with that. Instead of concentrating on those things that are temporal, like losing weight, buying a new house, getting a new car, getting that promotion on your job, and finding the love of your life, let's concentrate on something that is eternal. Let's concentrate on love. Getting to know love and learning how to show love will manifest those things that we so desperately want in this life. Those things that not only have temporary results, but have eternal glory attached to them. So let's start today thinking about how we can turn our love into our manifested destiny. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you are too.
Beyond the Barriers Nugget of Wisdom from Coach Cindy.
Beyond the Barriers radio show.
You are listening to Beyond the Barriers radio show on WDRB Media with your host, Coach Cindy and
Mayor Sherri. We're here today with local news sponsored by Sand Hills Cooperation Association, located in Troy, North Carolina, and serving 5 different counties. And we have some local news that we're going to share regarding some upcoming events. Coach Cindy, what's going on over in Moore County?
in Moore County, a 3-day event events starting Saturday, January 13th. There's a breakfast at 10 a.m. The breakfast is $20, honoring Reverend Dr. Paul Murphy, and the guest speaker is Al McShirley on Brunson Memorial Presbyterian Church at 350 South May Street in Southern Pines. And then on Sunday, the 14th, there will be a 5 p.m. service. It is free. It is at the West Southern Pines Cultural Center Auditorium at 1250 West New York Avenue in Southern Pines. And then on that Monday, a march that starts at 10 a.m. It is also free, and it's from the downtown park at 148 Southeast Broad Street in Southern Pines. And shortly after the march, annual West Southern Pines Cultural Center program, and it is also free.
Awesome. I got some news from Montgomery, and we'll come back over to you for Richmond County. In Montgomery County on that Saturday morning, January 13th, the 5K for MLK put on by the town of Biscoe will be happening at Biscoe Park at 9 a.m. That cost is $20 registration. You can register online with the town of Biscoe. That evening at 5 o'clock p.m., the Montgomery County NAACP will be honoring George Knight Jr., and that is a dinner that night for $20. That Monday, Citizens for Dr. King will be having its annual Dr. Martin Luther King March, and that is that Monday at 10 o'clock a.m. starting at the town of Biscoe. Now, what's happening in Richmond County?
So in Richmond County, the Richmond County Martin Luther King Jr. Celebration Foundation, who is doing events from January 12th through the 15th. And on that Friday, they have the MLK Gala. It's from 6 to 11 p.m. at Liberty Place on 214 East Washington Street in Rockingham, North Carolina. And you can contact Bruce Standback at 910-331-4246. And then on that Saturday, they have a prayer breakfast at 9 a.m. at the IHOP at 714 West US 74 in Rockingham. You can contact Reverend Charles Bethia at 910-273-7090. A parade at noon starting at East Washington Street, and you can contact Michael McCrae at 910-995-1410. Then on Sunday, the ecumenical service is Outreach for Jesus at 440 Battley Dairy Road in Hamlet, North Carolina, and you can contact Deanne G. Jackson Davis at 336-343-7496. And then on that Monday, the MLK lunching, and the guest speaker is Sandra Wall Williams at Wayman Chapel Center at 1923 Osborne Road, and you can contact Dot Banham at 919-219-0038. There's a lot going on in our counties. This is exciting.
That's
so
awesome.
Now, what do you have going on in Richmond County? I mean,
that's
Richmond. So
right. Randolph? We can do Randolph next. Yes, so in Randolph County, they are having at the Eastside Old Gymnasium on January 15th. That's that Monday. They will be having a breakfast at 8 o'clock a.m. to 10:30 a.m. And then right after that breakfast, they're going to be marching from that breakfast at 10:30 a.m. and they'll be marching to the monument. And we learned a great deal about that monument that's happening. So those in Randolph County, go in and contact Chip Faust for more information regarding that event. And then in Stanley is their annual Martin Luther King prayer breakfast, which is sponsored by the Stanley County NAACP. That's going to be happening on January the 13th at 9 o'clock a.m. at the E.E. Waddell Community Center. Their keynote speaker will be Dr. Reginald Boyd, and that prayer breakfast has a cost of $25 in order to attend. Once again, there's a lot going on for Martin Luther King holiday. As we know, also in February is Black History Month. Sand Hills Cooperation Association will be having its Black Journey Continues. It's going to be happening at Montgomery Community College beginning at 9 o'clock a.m. on February the 24th. We will be having a luncheon that's going to be honoring numerous people throughout our communities in the 5 counties that we serve. Our website is now up, so if you can go and visit sandhillscooperation.org in order to put in a vote for those community champions that you would like to see honored at the Black Journey Continues Conference. Visit once again sandhillscooperation.org. Now, I think that's the end of our local news. Anything else, Coach Cindy?
Well, I can't think of anything right now, but I can tell you that I am totally excited excited about what we got going on in our counties representing Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., as well as leading into our Black History Month. We are going to celebrate like never before because we as a people have a lot to celebrate.
Yeah, it's all about Black excellence, and
All
that's
about
what we
Black
do.
excellence.
Beyond the Barriers Radio Show.
This is Mayor Sherri.
And Coach Cindy, host of Beyond the Barriers.
Welcome.
Yes, welcome, Mayor Sherri.
Yes, good to see you as well, Coach Cindy.
Oh yeah, you know we have so much that we have to talk about.
Beyond the Barriers Radio Show.
I really think that if we read together, we learn together. If we learn together, we grow together.
Wow.
And if we grow together, we can build together.
It's out Sundays at 5 p.m. on WDRBmedia.com.
Looking for a dynamic workspace to fuel your creativity and boost productivity? Welcome to the Innovative Action Center, your hub for co-working and meeting space at 346 North Main Street, Troy, North Carolina. Become a member and enjoy 24/7 access, high-speed Wi-Fi, cozy coffee bar, and snacks to keep you energized. Elevate your business game with our membership packages. For more information, contact us at 910-573-3070 or visit sandhillscooperation.org. The Innovative Action Center is more than a workspace. It's a community dedicated to business development and job creation. Join us for monthly workshops, seminars, and entrepreneurial services. Take your business to new heights at the Innovative Action Center. Visit us today.
Beyond the Barriers radio show highlights the color purple.
Even if we have to part, us have one heart. We are more than just kings and queens. We are at the center of the universe.
What did you think about The Color Purple?
I thought it was very inspiring. I really connected with the character of Celie in the end when she was in her shop and she was really singing about her believing in herself and just empowering herself. I thought it was really good.
It was an emotional experience.
Why do you think it was emotional? Like, what part really got to you the most?
The family part.
What did you feel about The Color Purple?
I really enjoyed it. I was trying to figure out where the color purple came from, the name came from, and I think it came from when she was walking through that field with those flowers.
What did you think about The Color Purple?
I liked it.
You liked it?
Yeah. Say the one she stood up to the dude. What's his name?
Mister.
Yeah, I like that part.
What do you think about Color Purple?
I loved it. I loved the music in it. It was really good, like how they incorporated all the songs and made it more realistic.
The Color Purple was empowering. It was as big and as amazing as Black Panther. Yes, it was. I put that on the same level for us.
Black excellence.
That's right.
Beyond the Barriers Radio Show.
Ready to ignite change? Sandhills Cooperation Association empowers historically excluded communities, helping them become self-sufficient. Join us every Sunday at 5 o'clock p.m. for our Beyond the Barriers radio show on WDRB Media with Mayor Sherri
and Coach Cindy addressing community challenges. Visit us at sandhillscooperation.org or visit us on Facebook, Sandhills Cooperation Association, building brighter futures one community at a time.
Attention community leaders and change makers. The Black Journey Continues Conference is back on February 24, 2024 at Montgomery Community College, 1011 Page Street, Troy, North Carolina. Join us for a day of empowerment and inspiration. Engage in thought-provoking sessions and panels on the power of community. Celebrate our community leaders at the awards luncheon. Doors open at 9 o'clock a.m. with breakfast and lunch included. Vendor spaces are available and tickets can be purchased on Eventbrite. Contact 910-573-3070 or visit sandhillscooperation.org for details. This is your chance to be a part of something bigger. Sponsorship opportunities and ad purchases are available. Visit sandhillscooperation.org. Don't miss the Black Journey Continues Conference, where community strength takes center stage. See you there.
Something is happening in our world. The masses of people are rising up, and wherever they are assembled today, whether they are in Johannesburg, South Africa, Nairobi, Kenya, Accra, Ghana, New York City, Atlanta, Georgia, Jackson, Mississippi, or Memphis, Tennessee, the cry is always the same: we want to be free. Now is the time to rise from the dark and desolate valley of segregation to the sunlit path of racial justice. Now is the time to lift our nation from the quicksands of racial injustice to the solid rock of brotherhood. Now is the time to make justice a reality for all of God's children. It would be fatal for the nation to overlook the urgency of the moment. This sweltering summit of the Negro's legitimate discontent will not pass until that is an invigorating autumn of freedom and equality. 1963 is not an end, but a beginning. Those who hope that the Negro needed to blow off steam and will now be content will have a rude awakening if the nation returns to business as usual. There will be neither rest nor tranquility in America until the Negro is granted his citizenship rights. The whirlwinds of revolt will continue to shake the foundations of our nation until the bright day of justice emerges. But that is something that I must say to my people who stand on the warm threshold which leads into the palace of justice. In the process of gaining our rightful place, we must not be guilty of wrongful deeds. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. We must forever conduct our struggle on the high plane of dignity and discipline. We must not allow our creative protest to degenerate into physical violence. Again and again, we must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force.
Join us next week as we discuss the heartbeat of our community, engaging locally. We want to thank today's guests, City Councilman Jeremy McKenzie and former Commissioner Tavares Bostic, for joining us today.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. Continue to tune in every Sunday at 5 o'clock p.m. Please listen live 24/7 by going to wdrbmedia.com and click on the Listen Live tab. Also, if you want to be a guest on the show or want free advertising, call us at 910-573-3070 or email us at sandhillscooperation@gmail.com. Connect with us on social media at Sand Hills Cooperation Association, also at Beyond the Barriers Radio Show. You've been listening to Beyond the Barriers Radio Show, and we are your hosts, Mayor Sherri
and Coach Cindy, on WDRB Media, the voice of the community, for double the information and inspiration. Sowing seeds of change, breaking barriers, and transforming lives. That's what we do at Beyond the Barriers. Until next week, continue to be blessed.
Beyond the Barriers Radio Show.